I caught my husband cheating and made him pay. Today his ex-mistress is my bestie. 8 years of marriage gone in an instant. All it took was one careless screenshot from my husband, and just like that, his affair was no longer a secret. My world shattered, but I didn't fall apart. Instead, I did something no one saw coming. I reached out to her, his mistress, Mia. And together, we turned heartbreak into power and planned the perfect revenge. Life has a funny way of flipping the script when you least expect it. One moment, everything feels solid, secure, even, and the next, the ground underneath you gives out. For the longest time, I believed my marriage to Leo was built on something real. We'd been together for 8 years, and we had 2 wonderful children, a cozy house in the suburbs, and a life that looked perfect from the outside. People often told us how lucky we were, how we seemed like the couple who had it all. I believed that too. I trusted Leo completely. We weren't just husband and wife, we were best friends, partners, teammates. Or at least, that's what I thought. It was a random Tuesday afternoon when everything changed. The moment that shattered all of it didn't come with shouting or tears. It started with a simple screenshot. Leo had texted me a list of online purchases he'd made for the kids. It was nothing out of the ordinary. School supplies, new shoes, new lunch bags, and a few extras for their activities. I scrolled through the screenshot absent-mindedly while sipping on a smoothie after my workout. But then, my thumb paused at the very bottom of the image. There, beneath all the kids' items, was something that didn't belong. A bouquet of 71 red roses. Expensive, extravagant, and worse, set to be delivered to an address I didn't recognize. My stomach twisted, and my hand trembled, smoothie shaking dangerously near the rim of the cup. I stared at the screen, blinking like maybe I had imagined it. But there it was, clear as day. My heart pounded so loud, it was like thunder in my ears. "Oh, you horrible cheater," I said aloud, not caring that no one could hear me. I dropped everything, raced home from the gym, and ran straight into the home office. Leo had told me he was away on a business trip, so I knew I had some time. He wouldn't be back for a few more days. His laptop was on the desk, the charger plugged in. I sat down with shaking hands, opened the lid, and started searching for the truth. It didn't take long to find it. Buried in his browsing history was a reservation for a luxury spa resort. A 2-person booking. It included special add-ons, a couple's massage, champagne on arrival, and a king-sized bed. The stay was scheduled for the same days Leo told me he'd be out of town, working with clients. While I was home juggling 2 little kids, piles of laundry, school pickups, and endless sleepless nights, Leo was planning a romantic weekend escape with someone else. A stranger. A mistress. I stared at the screen in disbelief. Then rage took over. And heartbreak. I slammed the laptop shut, ran to the bedroom, locked the door behind me, and collapsed onto the bed. The sobs came fast and hard. They tore through my chest, raw and uncontrollable. I buried my face in the pillow and let the pain pour out of me. Between sobs, memories started flashing through my mind like an old movie I hadn't asked to see. I remembered how we met. Leo had spilled coffee on my shoes at the bookstore, of all places. He was so apologetic, so charming. He offered to buy me a new pair, and we ended up walking to the shoe store together. That's where it began. I thought of the time he proposed to me on a rainy beach. The way he knelt in the sand, soaking wet, holding out a ring he'd nervously hidden in his sock all day. He had said he couldn't wait another minute to ask me to be his wife. I remembered the pride on his face when our first child was born. He'd held Summer in his arms like she was something fragile and precious, his eyes full of wonder. I could still hear his voice whispering, "I'm going to love you forever." How did we end up here? That question played on repeat in my mind. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the lies, all of it circling like a storm I couldn't outrun. The tears eventually dried up, but they left behind something colder, something sharper. Anger. A steady, focused anger that felt strangely empowering. I wasn't going to let this break me. I wasn't going to let Leo walk all over the life I had built, not just for myself, but for our children. I had spent years pouring my heart into this family, and I refused to let his selfishness unravel everything. I sat up straighter, wiped my face, and opened Leo's laptop again. This time, I wasn't looking for sad reminders. I was hunting for the truth. I knew his devices were all synced, phone, email messages. Somewhere in there, I would find out who this woman was. It didn't take long. Her number was saved in his contacts under a simple label, ML. It was obvious he thought he was being clever, like hiding her behind initials would keep her secret safe. But one quick search on social media, his account, tagged photos, shared events, and I had a name. A face. And yes, even a number. My heart thudded in my chest as I copied the number into my phone. My foot tapped against the wooden floor, rapid and tense, while I stared at the screen. Should I do this? What would I even say? But I already knew. I pressed the call button. "Hello." Her voice was soft and a little hesitant. Young. Nervous. I took a breath. "Hi. My name is Claire. I'm Leo's wife. There was silence on the other end. A long pause, like someone had pulled the air out of the room. Then I heard it, a shaky inhale followed by a quiet, "What?" I swallowed hard. His wife. The mother of his 2 children. The woman he's been married to for 8 years. The silence that followed told me everything I needed to know. It was a silence filled with realization, with shame, with betrayal. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she confessed. "He told me he was single. I didn't know." "I swear, ma'am. But you're with him now, right?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. "We're at a spa," she admitted. "Not far from town." I closed my eyes, steadying myself. "Can we meet? I think we need to talk. Face to face." There was a moment's hesitation. Then she said, "He's in the room right now, said he had a work meeting to take care of. I'll leave. I'll tell him I need to run an errand, and that I'll be back soon. That way he won't come with me." "Good," I said, my voice firm. "Do it." The next day, we met at a little coffee shop by the beach. The sky was cloudy, and the waves crashed gently in the distance, as if nature itself knew this wasn't a normal day. I got there first, ordered a tea I didn't touch, and sat watching the sea. My chest tightened when I saw her walk in. Mia. She was even younger than I expected. And prettier. That stung more than I wanted to admit. But as she sat across from me, clutching her drink like a lifeline, I saw something familiar in her face. Her eyes were red, her expression tired, and there was pain, raw, real pain, etched into every inch of her. "I didn't know," she said, voice breaking. And then the tears came. She told me everything. Leo had said he was divorced, that the split had been clean and mutual, that there were no kids. The reason she couldn't come to his house, he told her, was because he was temporarily living with his mother, who still had a soft spot for his ex-wife. "I believed him," Mia said through her tears. "I feel so stupid." I reached across the table and grabbed her hand without thinking. It was instinct. She flinched at first, but then relaxed, squeezing my hand back. "You're not stupid," I said gently. "Leo's the liar. He's the one who betrayed both of us. You're just as much a victim in this as I am." In that moment, 2 women, strangers just a day ago, sat at a table, joined by the pain caused by one man's deception. And in that pain, I found something unexpected: strength. We sat in that coffee shop for hours. At first, it was awkward, 2 women bound by pain, staring across the table, unsure how to begin. But the awkwardness didn't last long. The more we talked, the more the truth spilled out. Tears followed, then laughter. Not joyful laughter, but the kind that bubbles up when the absurdity of your situation hits so hard, you can't help but laugh through the rage. We weren't angry at each other. All of that anger, all of that betrayal, was directed at one person: Leo. By the time we stood up from the table, we'd formed an unexpected bond. There was something powerful about sharing heartbreak with someone who understood exactly what you were feeling, because they'd lived it too. But we didn't just share pain. We shared an idea. A plan. 3 days later, Leo came home from his so-called business trip. Mia hadn't gone back to the spa after our meeting, so I assumed he had enjoyed the rest of the stay alone, trying to figure out what had gone wrong. He walked through the front door looking irritated, like someone who had lost a bet and still didn't understand why. His shoulders were tense, his face drawn and tired, and he didn't even glance at me as he tossed his travel bag by the door. I had already sent the kids to their grandparents for the weekend. They didn't need to be here for this. I was standing in the kitchen, preparing roast lamb. The house smelled of rosemary and garlic, but the air was heavy. I stayed calm, chopping garlic slowly, giving him space to walk into his own mess. "Hey," he muttered. "Hey," I replied, not looking at him. "Rough trip?" He let out a long, angry sigh. "You have no idea." I tilted my head, pretending to be concerned. "Why? What happened, Leo?" He glared at me, his hands balled into fists. "What happened, Claire?" "I'll tell you what happened. Someone posted me for sale online. For $1. I paused, hiding the smirk that tugged at my lips. "Really? That's unusual." "Don't play dumb," he snapped. "You know exactly what I'm talking about." The listing said I was a cheating, lying man who juggles 2 women and uses business trips to hide his affairs. It went viral. My boss saw it. The whole company saw it. I got fired because of your stupid little joke. I set the knife down and crossed my arms. "A joke?" I raised an eyebrow. I thought it was pretty accurate. His face turned bright red. "You ruined my career." I didn't flinch. "No, Leo. You ruined your career the moment you decided to betray your wife and lie to your girlfriend. This is just the consequence." He opened his mouth to argue, but I didn't let him get a word in. I lifted my hand to silence him and turned toward the hallway. "Mia, you can come in now, love." Leo's face drained of all color. He took a step back as Mia entered the room, calm and composed. She wore a simple blazer, her hair tied back, her eyes cold and steady. "Mia," he stammered. "Yes, Leo," she said, her tone sharp and steady. "It's me, the woman you told all those sweet lies to." The one you tried to string along with your made-up story about being divorced. He looked cornered, unsure of where to turn or what to say. Do you remember what I do for a living? She asked. Leo shook his head slowly, confused. I'm a divorce lawyer, Mia said, holding up a neatly prepared stack of documents in one hand. And lucky for Claire, I'm very, very good at my job. She handed the papers to him. He didn't move. These are divorce papers, she continued. You've been pretending to be single for long enough. Now you'll actually be single. Officially. Leo stared at the papers in shock, still trying to process everything. He looked at me, his mouth opening slightly like he wanted to protest, to plead, to say something that would undo the damage. But there was nothing he could say. Not anymore. I gave him a long, steady look. This is what honesty looks like, Leo. And consequences. I couldn't help but smirk. After everything Leo had done, after the lies, the betrayal, and the arrogance, this moment felt like justice. Sweet, sharp-edged justice. I crossed my arms and looked him square in the eyes. Don't worry, Leo, I said. You can go wherever you want now. Maybe someone will actually buy you for what you're worth. $1. And that's being generous. Mia let out a loud laugh, and I followed. The sound echoed through the room as Leo stood frozen for a moment, then yanked the divorce papers from the counter, shoved them into his bag, and stormed out the front door without another word. The door slammed so hard, the walls trembled. Mia raised her eyebrows, then turned toward the kitchen counter and sat down casually. More roasted lamb for us, she said, tossing her hair back and grinning. And honestly, it felt amazing. Now you're probably wondering about the auction. Let me take you back just a bit. It all started as a small joke. After our coffee shop meeting, Mia and I couldn't stop talking about how ridiculous Leo was, how shameless he had been, juggling 2 lives and acting like no one would find out. Mia, quick with ideas and sharper than a tack, looked at me and said, what if we exposed him? In a way he'd never expect. The result? A fake bachelor auction. The post was designed like a charity ad, clean, professional, and painfully honest. We claimed it was to raise money for a local animal shelter. And who was the star of the auction? None other than Leo himself. The listing read something like, for just $1 you can take home a real piece of work, this lying, cheating husband who juggles 2 women while pretending to be a devoted father of 2. A word of caution, he's excellent at disappearing for work trips but terrible at honesty. It was meant to stay between a few friends and maybe some locals. A quick hit to his ego. But social media had other plans. Someone shared it, then someone else, and by the next morning, it had gone completely viral. Thousands of comments poured in, most of them laughing at Leo's expense. Some even tagged his workplace without us ever asking them to. We didn't need to say a word. The internet did the rest. While Leo was on his way back from his business trip, his company called him in. They said they'd seen the post. They were concerned about the company's reputation. Just like that, they let him go. Fired. Done. He came home furious. But it was too late. Mia and I had already taken back the power he tried to steal from both of us. After he left, we poured ourselves glasses of wine and stood in the middle of the kitchen, finally breathing again. I can't believe we just did that, Mia said, wide-eyed but smiling. Believe it, I replied, raising my glass. To new beginnings. She laughed softly and clinked her glass against mine. To new beginnings. That weekend, I sent the kids to stay with my parents. They needed the break, and so did I. Mia and I packed our bags and took a trip, somewhere warm and sunny, with palm trees, ocean air, and no trace of Leo anywhere. It felt good to get away from all the chaos he'd caused. Even better to go with someone who truly understood. It was strange, really. A week ago, I had seen Mia as the other woman. The enemy. The threat. But now, she was one of the best friends I had ever made. We had laughed until our stomachs hurt, cried over drinks, and started to heal side by side. And you know what surprised me the most? My kids love her. Truly. Mia showed up for them, kind, patient, and thoughtful. She never tried to replace anyone or force her way into their lives. She just showed up as herself. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way.